All right, y'all, what's going on? It's Combo Breaker 99 back with another one, y'all. All right, y'all, so I see a lot of people talking about this fight still, so I know, look, we're a few hours away. We're going to get them questions answered, but, there's still some people just out here talking, just wondering different things, asking me some different questions too. But, I was just listening to a couple of interviews again with Valentina and Zhang Weili, and I just wanted to talk about a few things here before we, finally get our answer. But yeah, I also just wanted to say, man, yeah, looking at them at the weigh-in too, man, like just looking at this picture, man, Zhang Weili, she looks the part of a flyweight now. I mean, she looks full, healthy, and happy at this weight so far. So far, that's what I'm going to say. Like, physically, she looks good right now, right? So hopefully that comes into play and makes for a good fight. I know she does have the reach disadvantage, and, this is her first time against, one of the best fighters in the world. But I think that with everything she's prepared for and just being able to not really have to worry about cutting down certain things and being able to eat and drink what she wants, like she said in this interview, as far as, during training and focus on training, I think that's really going to come into play in this fight. But, listening to Valentina, I'm still taking away the same things. Valentina, she's always respectful of the sport. And, that's something that I always have to take my hat off to for Valentina Shevchenko. Like, she respects mixed martial arts. Like, she doesn't sell out or try to, sell the sport as just like some shock value type of stuff. I know Ronda Rousey, that was her character and it helped the sport, in its way. But I think that with the way Valentina does it, it kind of represents it in more of a timeless way where you just see a fighter growing and developing and just appreciating the sport. You see more of appreciation from Valentina because she's not letting the entertainment part eat her alive like it did with Ronda. I just got to say that because, there's been a lot of talk between these two, like subtle little shots being thrown. But I think that, Valentina, just listening to her, she's focused on her. And, when she talks like that, you can't, you just really can't count her out because she's not one of those fighters that gets starstruck and she's worried about the other person's weaknesses like that. It's like she said, she focuses on their strengths and their weaknesses, but she's not looking at them, like they're this big, huge obstacle. Like, her hard work starts in the gym, and then that makes the fight easy, right? And that's how it's always been done with her. Now, of course, as she gets older, things change. Fighters start to evolve. They start to figure her out, and we've already seen that. So, believe me, there is that wild card factor from Zhang Weili because I'm sure Zhang Weili, she's watched Valentina's last 5 fights. She's watched the Manon fight, the Tyler fight, the Grasso trilogy, all of these different fights, and she's trying to take away from all of that because she's got to put together something to go in there and, just go in there and completely dominate Valentina if she really wants this belt or stop Valentina, And I think that Zhang Weili has, like, the heart, and I think she has that mentality to go in there and kill. Like, you see her smiling all the time, but she's smiling because she gets to take people's heads off right now, for a living. And she knows that she's finally got the fight that she really wants. So I think she's really going to show up in this fight and be prepared. She's not going to fight tentative. She's not going to go in there and fight reckless and give something away to end this fight quick. So I think that on her side, she's going to be ready. But, yeah, just looking at what Zhang Weili said, too, like, this is a fight she's been chasing for years. And I think, it's coming down to her really being bored now. I think that's one of the reasons she's taking this fight because she says she's been wanting this fight for, like, 6-7 years. Remember I did the video saying that she wasn't ready for the bullet. Like, she mentioned it in this interview where she talked about back in 2019, she told Dana White, I want that Valentina fight. And Dana White was like, hold off on that. You ain't getting that fight yet. Just wait on that. Keep doing what you're doing and wait. And for good reason. Dana checked her on that because I said the same thing. She wasn't ready back then because she just came into the division, into the UFC, and hadn't really proven anything. But now, I think just with the way she fights and the way she grows and the way she wants to test herself, I think she kind of grows bored in certain situations because, yeah, like, me personally, I would have loved to seen her just stay at strawweight, become a career strawweight, and just do what Demetrius Johnson did, just defend her belt over and over and over like that because I know she owned that division. Like, her and Valentina side by side, just owning their divisions would have been cool. But I guess some fighters, they just want to step their game up and say, before I go, I want to test the best out there. And, she considers Valentina the best in WMMA. And, I mean, we can't argue that right now, right? That's the best fighter out there. I mean, it makes more sense than Kayla calling out Valentina, right? Valentina over here, Kayla out here calling out Valentina at this point. I mean, it doesn't even make any sense. But for Weili, somebody that could actually make the weight, because we seen Grasso make the weight and beat her. So Weili's like, dang, man, like she got my dream fight before I did. So of course she's gonna want that dream fight now, you know. So yeah, I just think that a lot of things are going to factor into Zhang Weili's performance being something that, you know, Valentina Shevchenko has got to be prepared for. But I don't think Valentina is underestimating Zhang Weili at all. Like, I haven't really heard her talk down on Zhang Weili at all in this fight, because it's like she said too, she's not looking at Zhang Weili as like, oh, this great fighter. At the same time, she's looking at the strengths and the weaknesses of that person to make herself better and get better where she needs to. Because, you know, I kind of heard a little like subtle shot at Grasso before that fight, you know, like not really anything too crazy, but I just kind of thought that her tone in that Valentina's tone in the Grasso fight, I think she kind of underestimated her a little bit. I never got that vibe from her. Even fighting Manon, I think she was 100% prepared for that fight. And even Tyler, you know, the third Grasso fight and so on, the second Grasso fight. But I think going into the Grasso fight, I think it's just like something about her in that fight kind of seemed off a little bit. But this one here, I don't think anything's off with her. But yeah, I really think it's going to be a good fight, y'all. Yeah, I just wanted to talk about a couple of interviews I was listening to. And yeah, across the board, like, I agree with Valentina, you know, with where she stands right now. You know, she just needs to keep doing what she's doing and not change anything. And also, you know, I know what we were all thinking about the glasses, like she was trying to hide something, you know, because when I saw them too, I was like, oh, okay, you know, she a little shook. She got pink eye. What's the deal? You know, when she had the glasses on. But the glasses, Meta glasses, I guess she was just wearing it to represent Meta, you know, the Meta glasses, whatever, you know. But it wasn't anything to hide like the stare down, you know. So, all right, just covered that part. But yeah, anybody changing their pick, let me know in the comment section, because yeah, we're just a few hours away, y'all. I'm just getting, you know, about to get set up here myself. But just drop it in one more time, because I am going to jump on and try to cover the fights tonight. But yeah, just looking at this picture, I mean, I'm taking a lot from Weili. You know, the core looks tight. She still looks solid. You know, the muscles, you know, the face doesn't look sunk in or anything. You know, Valentina, she looks good. Of course, Valentina still looks like a fighter that cut some weight. You can see it. I'm not saying she looks weak, but you can see it in the face. But Weili looks like somebody that's walking around comfortably at this weight. You know, she really does. So let's see if that power and strength translate. I know she got to have a strategy to get in there and use it. So we're going to find out now in a few hours. So that's it, y'all. Let's do it.